Welcome back to Old Fox Racing PlayStation. This is late coverage of the Vintage GT Championship Round 2. We are at Ruapuna in New Zealand. What a track it is with this amazing Nissan or Datsun Vintage GT. We had some pretty good racing in Round 1 at Sakito, and we expect this to be an equally good track, sort of short, but still long enough to provide good racing. We have 9 drivers here today, and this is race 1, of course, out of 2. And let's go through the starting grid as we now prepare for this race. So it is Diogo Silva on pole position, followed by Darren Head. Second row, Jorge Jesus and Scott Davey. Third row, Dale Taylor and Diogo Almeida. Fourth row, Gonçalo Mota and Peter Adrian. And we've got a newcomer, who I'll call Steve, because I honestly forgot his surname. I will fix this for future rounds, but good to have new drivers here in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. Always welcome any ability as long as you abide by the rules of clean racing and wanting to have fun. So on that note, let's see what happened in this Ruapuna race as they're all pretty bunched up, and the race is go go go, and Darren Head as they get a good start. Look at Jorge Jesus in that other number 23 has had an amazing start and goes into the lead of the race. It's 3 or 4 wide into the first corner, but it is Jorge Jesus that has really... Oh, and Diogo Silva has made a mistake there. Oh! Diogo Silva made a mistake. Oh! And we've got carnage. We've got carnage already in the first corner. We are going to have to see what happened there, but it seems to me that it was instigated by Diogo Silva, who's down into 6th place, and we are going to try to understand what happened from his perspective. As well, what happened here in turn 1 in Ruapuna. It is a tricky corner to make moves, so I wasn't sure there, and I think that let's have a look at what happened from Diogo's perspective. He is in 3rd place, not the greatest start. He's going to try to go on the inside there in turn 1. Well, no, he got hit. Actually, he lost it a little bit and then got hit and then came back into the track. Several drivers take avoiding action, others get collected, but it could be that it was Scott Davey, the other driver involved in this, and we are going to have to rewind and see, because I don't think that Scott was trying to overtake Diogo, but well, it was not Scott Davey who was involved in this. It might have been Dale Taylor, yes, but to be fair to Dale, Diogo was also losing it, so Diogo is already out of shape. He's braking, he's trying not to hit Darren Head, and he's already a little bit out of shape and just gets a little bit of a tap, but Diogo Silva comes back to hit Del Taylor, not on purpose, but he was just completely out of control. Now Scott Davey seems to have been affected because he's dropped to 9th place. So we'll get the final replay of this opening lap incident from his perspective. He had to take avoiding action. He may have been hit by Diogo. Yes, he was. So let's have a look at this from Scott's perspective. He was on the 2nd row of the grid. Poor start by Diogo Silva. We are in turn 1. Darren Head turns in as he should. Then Diogo Silva, out of shape, gets that tap. Scott Davey is trying to avoid pretty much everyone, but ends up just getting hit by various drivers and almost spins, but gets back into the race in 9th spot. Diogo Almeida also got slightly affected there. He's battling now for 7th place, and oh, look at this, is almost contacting there as Diogo Silva in 6th. 5th is Peter Adrian, and look at Steve there trying to make a move on Diogo Almeida. It didn't quite work as Diogo Silva is trying to go around on the outside, and Del Taylor has checked out there. Del Taylor, 2nd incident in the 1st lap. Let's have a look at what happened here with Dale as he's in 3rd place. I think he's just clipped the curb, so plenty of action here on the opening lap. As Dale goes wide, then just comes back, and then his complete passenger doesn't get hit by anyone. But that Nissan in the grass is not the greatest car. Let's go back to the race leader, George Jesus, as let's go back trackside and see the rest of this opening lap as Darren Head is really on the back of George Jesus. We've got 14 laps here, not a very long lap, and amazing there. Well, unfortunately these drivers both chose the same livery, but we can see that George Jesus is leading from Darren Head. Third is Gonçalo Mota. Good start from Gonçalo Mota, avoiding most of the carnage. And up into fourth already goes Diogo Silva. Diogo Silva is on the move there. He went around Diogo Almeida, and Steve Peter Adrian has said, well, something has happened there surely, because Peter Adrian was at some point ahead of Steve and ahead of Diogo Almeida. So I'm wondering what on earth happened here. So we'll just do a very quick rewind as look at that, there's quite a lot of action in there, and that was whoa, it was Dale Taylor. It was following the Dale Taylor incident as Diogo Silva took advantage of that to go around two drivers there on the outside there, battling side by side with Peter Adrian. And then look at this, Peter Adrian did get hit by another driver, so there was a bit of pushing and shoving there, and continued pushing and shoving as also Scott Davely tried to get back into the mix. So very interesting group here behind the leaders, as Gonçalo Mota has third place, fourth is Diogo Silva, fifth is now Diogo Almeida, sixth is Steve, seventh is Peter Adrian, eighth is Scott Davely, and they're all nose to tail. But this is not the leading group, because the leading group is already going through the start-finish line and completing the first of 14 laps. So we're going to follow them and just track the difference there. That's a very interesting battle. And the other interesting battle is this massive battle for third place, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and Dale Taylor is coming back into this pack as well. Let's see if they go smoothly through the first corner now, unlike the first lap, and they do so. Gonçalo Mota in that number 2 car, Diogo Silva in the yellow car, and then is Diogo Almeida. And these drivers are checking out a little bit from Steve. Look at this, Peter Adrian running wide there, and now under pressure from Scott Davely. This is the battle for 7th place. Dale Taylor is an observer, and he could be part of this battle as well. We'll keep an eye on the battles up front. And one thing that has happened is that Jorge Jesus has opened a gap of 1.6 seconds, so that's a bit decisive at this point. At least he's got some breathing space in this race. Second lap out of 14. Races in Old Folks Racing are around 20 minutes. A bit of track limits there for track limits abuse there for Jorge Jesus. It's the same for everyone, and no penalties for track limits unless it is a very serious case, which will be reviewed by the admins of Old Fox Racing PlayStation. But look at look at this. There's in the back there's Gonçalo Mota and Diogo Silva side by side, almost side by side. But I think Gonçalo Mota is going to remain ahead. In fact, I don't think Diogo Silva is going to try the inside there, as they all maintain their positions. And a little bit of a wide line there for that was that Steve Obes? Yes, no, it was Peter Adrian. I'm sorry, it was Peter Adrian. We'll get a replay of what happened. Peter Adrian was in 7th spot and has gone down into 9th. No, it wasn't Peter Adrian. Something else happened with Peter before. He was already in 9th. So I believe this was Steve Obes that run wide in turn 1. Let's see that replay. That number 3 car is just going to be a little bit out of shape, and then misses the braking point, tries to avoid the gravel and does so, but loses quite a lot of momentum. There goes Scott Davely into 6th place, and Dale Taylor is now on his back. Battle for 7th place, as 8th is now Dale Taylor, of course. And look at the Dale Taylor there running wide, quite wide actually. Gap at the front is 1.6 seconds. and Diogo Silva has had a problem there. Diogo Silva has had a problem. He's lost position again to 6th, so the race not going to his liking at all. Let's have a replay of what happened. He just it was coming off the hairpin. Let's see if it was just like the he might have had some help into that spin. I thought it was just like Del Taylor, but it seems that there was a gap there, but the gap quickly closed, and Diogo Silva loses the position to Diogo Almeida and loses quite a bit of time. He loses the position to Scott Davely as well. So Diogo Silva back in 6th place. Look at Scott Davely, nice recovery there from the American driver who had that problem in turn 1, but now making a swift recovery and actually already in the top 5. Diogo Almeida in 4th place, and this of course has put Gonçalo Mota as well into the mix. Well, not into the mix, but with a lot more breathing space. Let's have a look at the two drivers in at front, but look at this. This continues to be quite a lively pack as Scott Davely now on the inside of Diogo Almeida, and Scott Davely is going for 4th place. Scott Davely, nice recovery there. He's going for 4th place, but Diogo Silva in that number 84 is trying to make the move. Del Taylor running wide there in the back. Lost the position. No, he did not lose the position, but not the way to attack Steve Obes if he is going to run wide like that in the last corner, as we follow Diogo Almeida in 4th place, followed by Scott Davely in 5th, followed by Diogo Silva in 6th, and then 7th, 8th and 9th are there already. But look at this, we have a battle at the front again. Lucky number is number 23, which is running 1st and 2nd. We don't have many alternative liveries here in Project Cars, and of course for console you cannot make your own liveries, so not much to choose from. We try that drivers choose different liveries. Darren Head is not ahead of Jorge Jesus, but he's pretty close, and we still have quite a lot of racing to go. Let's see how this race here is going as Diogo Almeida continues to be in 4th place. Look at that livery, the Fairlady 240Z. This is a very iconic Nissan car, and very nice liveries as well here in Project Cars 2. There was a driver there running wide, that was Steve Obes, I believe. That, of course, he missed the first part of that right-left, and then missed the second one as well. Del Taylor has had a problem. Del Taylor has gone backwards and now is sitting 9th. Let's have a look at the race for the lead, and it seems pretty lively here in turn 1 as Darren Head is trying to make a move on Jorge Jesus, lap 5, sorry, out of 14. We have maybe 1.5 minutes per lap. Scott Davely has gone around. Change of position for 4th place. That was a good move there, surely, by Scott Davely. That was in turn 1, I believe. So let's see how it unfolded, and that was a good exit there from the last corner, and on the gas early, and he makes the move side by side there already through the start finish line. That number 8 of Scott Davely is on the inside of Diogo Almeida, and now he continues to press on and is going to make the move stick here in turn 1. Nice to see a move in turn 1. Is not the easiest place to complete the move, but Scott Davely continues to be quite impressive in this race. He was at one point in 9th place on lap 1. Lap 5, he's up into 4th, and he's not that far behind Gonçalo Mota for a podium position. Here comes Diogo Almeida, however, back on Scott Davely. Diogo Silva almost hitting the back there of Diogo Almeida. He's struggling a little bit there in the braking point, and this is proving to be a bit of a tricky circuit to overtake, as these drivers seem to me they are actually getting closer to Gonçalo Mota, and the last lap of Gonçalo was a 133 flat, and Scott Davely a 131.440. In fact, look at this. It's already a battle for third. Gonçalo Mota is struggling a little bit. Could this be tires or any other problem? But now the battle for fourth. Look at Scott Davis. He is absolutely nailing it, and he's going to go for a podium position surely, as now we have third, fourth, fifth and sixth here in this race. Let's look at the race leads. They are close, but not enough action happening. Look at Scott Davis. Scott Davis is going for it. Scott Davis is going to go for third. Scott Davis, what a recovery, what a race. He's the man of the race so far in this race. Diogo Almeida and Diogo Silva are observers in this battle. That number 2 is going to go into oh, look at this. Oh, there was a bit of pushing and shoving there. Diogo Silva makes the move there. We'll see a replay of what happened. Seems to me that there was contact with Scott Davis, possibly with Diogo Almeida as well. So Scott Davis moves back to 6th place. We'll get a review of what happened here to Scott Davis as he drops. He was almost 3rd. And he drops 2 positions. Oh, it seems to me that was a bit of a concertina effect there. Let's have a look from Diogo Almeida's chase camera. As look at this, Scott Davis is really close to Gonçalo Mota, but different braking points in turn 1. You can see that Gonçalo is braking a little bit earlier, and Scott just oh, and then oh, it was a bit more than a small bump. And in fact, Diogo Silva did a good job there, getting 2 positions in one go. That yellow car moving from 6th to 4th, now going defensive there on Diogo Almeida, who is almost side by side, but here surely is not going to work. And look at this, Diogo Silva is almost going to hit ooh, a bit of pushing and shoving there. Diogo Silva getting a good run out of the hairpin, but not really in a position to challenge. There was a bit forced. He had to go defensive there on Diogo Almeida, but keeps the position. Nice move there, nice moves. But look at this is absolutely brilliant stuff, as Diogo Silva now is going for 3rd, and this is the battle for the lead. It's very difficult to follow 2 battles at the same time, but we are very impressed. Darren Head still 3 tenths of a second, I'm sorry, under 3 tenths of a second behind Jorge Jesus, who continues to lead this race. Lap 6 now. We are still in the first half of this race, would you believe it? Let's have a look at the battle between Diogo Silva and Gonçalo Mota, and this is going to be interesting because Diogo Silva has gone through, and Gonçalo Mota, what happened to him? He just runs wide in the last corner. I believe that's what happened. Oh yes, and he hit the wall as well. This is not what Gonçalo Mota, oh, he's just too close to the apex there. Now he's got to go on the gas, but he's a little bit too late. He's already offline. Diogo Silva goes through. The question is, can Diogo Almeida go through as well? And the answer might be yes, because Diogo is going to go side by side with Gonçalo Mota, and I think that's going to be job done in turn 1, unless Gonçalo is going to be braking really late, which he is not. And Scott Davis is trying to get back into the mix. Gonçalo Mota from 3rd to 5th. Scott Davis, we haven't seen the last of him in this race surely, because he was, well, so quick until now, until that incident with Diogo Almeida. He surely has got, oh look at this is on the inside, Gonçalo Mota on the inside of Diogo Almeida, and Diogo Almeida spins. Very similar incident to the one between Diogo Almeida and Diogo Silva. It's a little bit tricky to overtake there. That happened. Scott Davis thought about making the move, but then realized that he had space. Look at this is now for the lead of the race. Darren Head is going to go for the lead, side by side. No, Jorge shuts the door, and this is amazing racing here at the front, and look, a bit of contact there between the 2 drivers as well. We'll keep an eye on other battles, but this one is heating up surely. Now Darren Head with that contact lost a few car lengths, but surely he seems to have the fastest package right now as they complete another lap. In fact, it's completion of lap 7, which is the middle of this race. And let's see if he makes a move in turn 1. We'll keep an eye on other battles, but one thing that seems clear already: Jorge Jesus goes wide. Jorge Jesus goes wide. Darren Head is the new leader. Darren Head is the new leader. and George Zush has succumbed to the pressure. Darren Head is the new leader of this race on lap 7. The second half of this race started with a change of leader, and already George Zush is back a couple of car lengths. Diogo Silva has actually checked out a little bit from the rest of his friends. And Diogo Almeida continues to defend from Gonçalo Mota, and Scott Davley is trying to find a way around the two of them. He has shown a lot of pace before. It's a different thing to show pace than to make an overtake. We'll keep an eye on battle at the front. The battle, the gap has increased. George Zeus surely has a bit of dirt in his tires, and something happened there with Steve Obes. He's dropped back to 9th. We haven't seen exactly what happened, but probably an off-road excursion is what we suspect. He's running 9. 8 is Peter Adrian. 7th is Del Toro. Del Toro running 9th at one point, now into 7th. He has been very quick on one lap pace, less so in consistency. Scott Davley continues to battle there, as the hottest battle now is this one between Diogo Almeida, Gonçalo Mota and Scott Davley. We'll keep an eye on the battle at the front. But in fact, Diogo Almeida has actually checked out a few car lengths from Diogo Almeida, and it is Gonçalo Mota that's now under pressure from Scott Davley. Scott trying to get back into the top 5, and he seems to find a bit of a draft there, but is he close enough? I don't think he's close enough to make a move in turn 1 unless it's a bit of a dive bomb. But let's see in turn 1 what happens. Scott Davley is not making the move there. He's not known for dive bombs, Scott Davley, but he's also possibly trying to avoid losing too much time, because, well, ideally he would be challenging Diogo Almeida as well. Let's see how things are at the front of the race. Things beginning to sort out a little bit now, and that 23 Nissan, of course, a very famous number, with Ni being 2 in Japanese and San being 3. And of course, the number 23 is a number very much used by Nissan in motor racing. And Darren Head is running away. He's done a 1:39.15, 1:32. That was the previous lap where George Zeus went off in turn 1. Now this is the first lap, the first full lap after that incident. So we are going to try to evaluate the relative pace of these two drivers, and crossing the line is Darren Head to begin lap 10, 1:31.080, and George Zeus 1:32. So a second slower is George Zeus. Oh, look at this! There's action there at the back between Scott Davley and Gonçalo Mota, and Gonçalo Mota defending the position. Scott Davley had to run very wide and ends up losing quite a bit of time. Let's have a look at what happened there, shall we? Because I'm not entirely sure. There was no contact in this situation. Scott Davley, well, there was no contact in this situation. I wasn't sure, but Scott Davley again, this is the problem. You go offline, now you have to be on the gas, and bang! He just loses even more time than he had backed off and gone back to the racing line. Let's go back and see what's happening with George Zeus. George Zeus is losing time. He's 2.6 seconds now. Well, it's more than 2 seconds. George Zeus seems to have a bit of a problem there with his tires. So Darren Head is decisively gone ahead of everyone. At this late stage of the race. Third is Diogo Silva, now running on his own. Fourth is Diogo Almeida, running on his own. Fifth is Gonçalo Mota. Sixth is Scott Davley. Seventh is Dale Taylor. Eighth is Peter Adrian, and 9 is Steve Obes. And he's drifting there through the hairpin. Almost looked like he had applied the handbrake, except that this car does not have a handbrake in this game. Certainly spectacular, but maybe not the fastest way to go around that particular corner. Still, he's on the lead lap, and 4 laps to go in this race. 9 drivers still in this race. Darren Head the pace is going down. 132.5 for Darren Head, 134.9. Ooh, Darren Head almost running wide there. Well, not almost running wide, but still not enough to cause problems. But look at George Jesus, he is not in great shape. 134.9. Look at Diogo Silva, fastest man on the track now. 139.95. And that's interesting, but he's too far behind, surely. 3 laps to go at the line. He's 5 seconds behind Jorge Jesus. Very tricky. Gonçalo Mota continues to defend from Scott Davis. Scott a bit closer now, actually. And Gonçalo Mota not helping his cause by that mistake at the hairpin. Scott Davis still wants that top 5. He's also seeing Dale Taylor maybe get a little bit closer. Well, still 7 seconds, and Scott was actually faster than Dale on the previous lap. In fact, Scott Davely was the second fastest driver at the moment behind Diogo Silva. Let's keep an eye on the lap times, because some drivers seem to have tire wear problems more than others. We had a suspicion that the loose setup could actually be quite damaging for tires, so maybe we're seeing some of that, and some of the drivers on stable. Look at this, Scott Davely is going for it. Scott Davely going for it, but he wasn't really close enough. But now at the exit, maybe he's going to be close enough, and this is great stuff between these two drivers, as Gonçalo Mota is defending again for his life that 5th place. Look at the gap at the front. Darren Head on the 133.0, not the greatest lap. 131.775 for Jorge Jesus. This lap he was faster. 131.568 for Diogo Silva. Not a very fast lap, but everyone seems to be slowing down dramatically as tire wear starts to kick in. Oh, and Gonçalo Mota has gone wide there, and Scott Davely could go through, but he's not. Gonçalo Mota still ahead at the hairpin. By the way, Peter Adrian is up into 7th. Dale Taylor must have had some big problem. He's done a 142 on the previous lap. In fact, Dale Taylor has gone from bad to worse. He's dropped down to 9th place as Steve Obes goes into 8th. Let's go back to that. Oh, and something happened there too. No, that was sorry, that was a support car. I apologize. I thought there was a car off the track, but there isn't. Gonçalo Mota still ahead of Scott Davely. Let's go back to the race leaders and see the lap times. How dramatically is it dropping down? Darren Head the leader, 131.998. That's good. 131.2 for Jorge Jesus. Again, 7/10 of a second faster, and Jorge is trying to mount a late challenge now on the last couple of laps. Darren Head, he has gone wide. He's completely messed up turn 1. He's hit the curb on the inside and then almost lost it on the outside. This has not helped his cause. The gap now is just 1.6 seconds. Can Darren Head still hold on to that lead? As also Scott Davely is putting a final challenge to Gonçalo Mota for that 5th place. They go through the second corner here at Ruapuna, and I think that Diogo Almeida is safe in that 4th place. He seems to have checked out all these two drivers at the hairpin. Not enough time there for Scott Davely. He's really trying to go around Gonçalo Mota, who seems to be struggling with tire wear as well. But Darren Head, let's look at lap 13 when he crosses the line. That's going to be the last lap. Oh, Gonçalo Mota gets hit from behind from Scott Davely. There's a bit of pushing and shoving there. Scott Davely is saying, I'm here. You either go faster or I'll go through you. As really, this is very nice racing between these two drivers for 5th place. Ooh, look at this bit of a not ideal line there for Gonçalo Mota, as the driver ahead is Darren Head. We've seen that so many times here at Ruapuna. He's almost playing at home. He's done a 132.1 And Jorge Jesus has done a 1:31.5, so he's getting closer, but only one lap to go. 1.4 seconds is now the gap. Third is Diogo Silva, fourth is Diogo Almeida, fifth is Gonçalo Mota, and for the last time they are going to go through turn one. And what can Scott Davey do? I think he's too far behind. He's too far behind. He's not going to work here in turn one as Gonçalo Mota approaches that corner, followed by Scott Davey. Can Scott Davey do anything at the hairpin for the final time? The gap at the front is 1.7, so we'll concentrate on this battle as Darren Head is going through the last few corners of this race. I think Scott is too far behind at the hairpin. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at the hairpin unless Gonçalo Mota makes a mistake. And Gonçalo Mota gets hit from behind there. Gets hit from behind. Scott Davey was trying hard, and they maintain their positions, but it's going to be Darren Head that's going to be ahead of the pack here at Ruapuna. He was almost playing at home. He absolutely loves this track, and he's very competitive, and he's driven the perfect race here at Ruapuna Grand Prix, round 2, race 1. After Simon Allen, who is away for this round, won the first 2 races, it's Darren Head's turn to see the checkered flag first and to win here at Ruapuna, followed by Jorge Jesus, just 1.7 at the line. Third is Diogo Silva, fourth is Diogo Almeida, and who is going to give fifth as Gonçalo Mota makes the final defense there. And I think he's going to get 5th place from Scott Davey. Scott Davey, 6th place. 7th is going to be Peter Adrian. And look at this Peter Adrian. He's actually under pressure from Steve Obes. Final few corners for these drivers. Only a second and a half between the two. And Del Taylor has actually retired from the race, so this will be the last 2 finishers of this race. Is Peter Adrian in 7th and Steve Obes in 8th place. What an amazing race this was with Darren Head, Jorge Jesus and Diogo Silva. Your top 3 will cover immediately after this race 2 in the same circuit, so we'll just load the second race, the second replay, which is exactly the same format, same number of laps, same car, same track, and of course different qualifying session. So we'll reintroduce the grid of the starting grid of this race. There it is, the Ruapuna circuit. You can see that long start finish line, turn 1 absolutely critical, and then of course the hairpin. There it is, the third corner in this track, the twisty intersection of the track, and then the final section and the final corner, of course, absolutely critical for the speed down the straight. That's where most of the overtaking we have seen. Surprisingly, not much overtaking at the hairpin with this car. It's a little bit difficult to outbrake someone into a very slow corner, so most of the overtaking we've seen without driver error in front has been on the start finish line, and you do need to get side by side already at the start finish line to have a real chance of overtaking in turn 1. Race 2 pole position, surprise surprise, it's Darren Head, followed by Diogo Silva, followed by Jorge Jesus. The top 3 in the previous race are also the top 3 in this qualifying. Different order though. Scott Davey hoping to have a shot at the podium for this one, followed by Del Taylor. Let's see if he has better luck as well in this race. 6th is Diogo Almeida, 7th is Gonçalo Mota, Steve Obes in 8th, and Peter Adrian is your 9th qualifier. We are going to watch another amazing racing event here at Old Racing PlayStation. They're almost side by side there for the start, and it's again Jorge Jesus with an awesome start. What does he do to get his awesome start? He's going to go into the lead again, or is he? Let's see if we have any problems in the first corner like we had before. Darren Head maintains the lead. Darren Head maintains the lead, and a bit of pushing and shoving there at the back, but I believe everyone has gone through. No, Steve Obes, the rookie, has spun, and we're going to get the replay of what happened there, as he seems to be the only driver that has lost significant time there in turn 1. He did spin, but he was on his own actually. He's in 8th place, ahead of Peter Adrian, I think he just lost it, didn't he? Well, he just lost it on his own, and then ends up spinning, which was unfortunate because he could have maybe recovered without the spin. He's on the back foot now, but at the front, it's again the usual suspects. The 23s, the Nissans of this championship, as Jorge Jesus is trying to go on the outside. Look at Diogo Silva there trying to make a move, but didn't quite work there. Didn't quite work. Let's go trackside with the race leader, and we'll keep an eye on any action that is happening behind us. Jorge Jesus is in second, third is Diogo Silva, fourth is Del Taylor. Nice start there, good nice start as well from Gonçalo Mota in that number 8. We seem to have a lot of same liveries in this race, and I do believe there were more liveries available. Gonçalo Mota in 5th place. Scott Davely has had a poor start, he's down into 6th. Diogo Almeida has had not the greatest start either, down into 7th. But it is Darren Head who's going to lead lap 1 of this race. The winner of race 1 is starting the right way, race 2, and he's already opening a little bit of a gap, almost a second between him and Jorge Jesus, as Del Taylor is lining up a move potentially for Diogo Silva. Diogo Silva in 3rd, 4th is Del Taylor, 5th is Gonçalo Mota. Look at Gonçalo Mota, he's going for it on Del Taylor. It's a bit difficult to see the liveries, but Del Taylor is on the inside, Gonçalo Mota is on the outside. But, well, they have 3 drivers with number 8, do we? Number 8, Del Taylor in 4th, number 8, Gonçalo Mota in 5th, number 8 is Scott Davely in 6th, and he has to be urgently corrected because there are more liveries than number 8 in Project Cars 2. We have 3 number 8s, we have 2 number 23s. Diogo Almeida at least has a different livery, but he's had a poor start in that number 3 car. He's getting caught by Peter Adrian, who is another number 23 in this race. We've got 3 number 23s and 3 number 8s. That's 6 out of 9 drivers with just 2 different liveries, as we see Steve Opes here. He's with the number 3, which is also a unique livery, which is good to see. Darren Head running wide there a little bit at the end of lap 2. Another lap will be in the books very shortly. Diogo Silva almost losing it there in the final section of and we seem to have amongst the number 8s a move there, as Gonçalo Mota is going to get attacked by Scott Davely. This was a repeat of the race 1 battle, except that this time Scott Davely has actually managed to make the move and go up into the top 5. Surprisingly, in the first race they were also battling for 5th position, but Gonçalo Mota ended up ahead. It is Diogo Almeida that has lost the most. He was 4th in race 1, currently running 7th, as Scott Davely runs wide there, and so does Gonçalo Mota, but doesn't lose any time. Diogo Almeida is going from bad to worse. He's just gone wide in turn 1, lost the position to Peter Adrian, and that's something that he doesn't want to see. Now, and Diogo Silva is up into 2nd place. Something happened to Jorge Jesus, Roger as he's known in All Force Racing PlayStation. There was a move for 2nd place, Diogo Silva up into 2nd, and the move probably happened in turn 1. Did it happen in turn 1? No, it did happen in turn 1, or did it not? Yes, it did, and that was some good racing there between the 2 drivers, as Diogo Silva got a better run there. What happened to... and it was a bit of pushing and shoving there. Let's see how much of pushing and shoving there was here, as Diogo Silva is going to go for it. And it was actually Roger that initially just braked himself a little bit, and nice racing between the 2 because they were very close, but not exactly. Didn't hit each other. Now Roger is actually ahead at this point, but Diogo Silva has the inside line and is going to make it work. And a nice move there for 2nd place. Roger was hoping to get back on the inside. Didn't really quite work at this point, but this battle, I suspect, is far from over, as Scott Davely continues to Del Taylor continues to be in 4th place. Scott Davely has not checked out from Gonçalo Mota. The 2 continue to be very glued there. We are still on the 3rd lap out of 14, plenty of racing to go in this round, as we'll keep an eye on other differences, other gaps on the track. Scott Davey still hasn't checked out from Gonçalo Mota. Let's look at the race leader, Jorge Jesus. He is in the lead of this race again. 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds. Diogo Silva continues to battle with Jorge Jesus, and a driver that's getting closer to Jorge Jesus is Dale Taylor. We'll see it in the lap time, but I have a suspicion. Look at that, there was something at the back there between Scott Davey and Gonçalo Mota. Gonçalo Mota going on the outside there. It will not work, the outside line here, unless you use it to get the inside line on the start-finish straight, but didn't quite work there for Gonçalo Mota. Now, how close is Dale Taylor to Jorge Jesus? Is not that close. Let's go into turn one, as Gonçalo Mota might try to make a move. He's too far behind. Peter Adrian doing a good job there in seventh, and but getting under increasing pressure. Oh, and look at this. This is a bit of contact there at the end of turn one between Peter Adrian and Diogo Almeida. Diogo Almeida feels probably that he has more pace at this point than Peter, but a little bit tricky to make a clean overtake. Oh, and Peter is going wide there. Peter is going wide there, but gets back onto the racing line and defends. Some good racing there, and we do expect, of course, a bit of pushing and shoving with this car in a circuit like this. Steve Opes continues to run in 9th place after that first lap problem in turn one. The gap at the front is reducing very, very mildly to 1.3 seconds. Darren Head was, well, almost the same lap time between these two, but look at that. Look at that. Dale Taylor is, oh, Dale Taylor is off. Dale Taylor is off. Dale Taylor is off and spins. Was there contact is the question, and I don't think so. I think he just lost it. It's just so easy to lose it in this corner. You just feel that you need momentum, but that was quite a big off there for Dale Taylor. Let's see what happened here. Oh, he was actually ahead of Jorge Jesus. So this was a bit of a long history that we somehow missed, but we'll get this from the start, which I have a suspicion it started at the hairpin, and yes, it did. Oh, and it also started because Jorge Jesus completely misses the braking point there at the hairpin. He goes back into the racing line. Dale Taylor clearly has, well, he's entitled to go. Now they're running side by side. Let's see what happens here in the next corner. Dale Taylor takes the position but runs wide. He's a bit out of shape there. Jorge Jesus comes back at him, but he's going to be on the inside there, Dale Taylor. But then what happens here is, oh, he just gets out of shape there, doesn't he? Jorge Jesus goes through the inside, but now he's going to be out of shape. Dale Taylor does not take the opportunity. Nice racing there between the two drivers. Oh, unfortunately, Dale Taylor is just going too fast here, and then he just loses it, and then he's a bit of a passenger, ends up hitting the barrier, and loses all the good work that he has done so far in this race, and in fact loses even 7th and 8th position. He goes down, well, loses 6th and 7th, I'm sorry. As we go back to the race lead, Darren Head has done a 1:31.4, not the greatest lap there by Darren. On this 4th lap, we are on the 5th lap now. Diogo Silva 2nd place, 3rd place is Jorge Jesus. 4th place now is Scott Davey, and Scott is having a better race now in this 2nd race. At some point he was 4th in race 1, but then everything went backwards after that incident in turn 1 with Diogo Almeida. But now Jorge Jesus again, he has a very good pace, but so far has been a little bit inconsistent in this race 2. He's lost a bit of time now, lost a bit of touch with the top 2, and Diogo Silva is actually now under a second momentarily there. We'll keep an eye on that battle as we continue to see Jorge Jesus, Scott Davey and Gonçalo Mota. By the way, Diogo Almeida is up into 6th place. because Peter Adrian had a problem most likely. He's also under pressure from Dale Taylor, so Diogo Almeida's race now in clean air. We will see what pace he's got. As now look at this, Peter Adrian almost doing a Dale Taylor there, but ends up not spinning. So that's good. Dale Taylor did, yes, the 144, of course it was due to that spin. Peter Adrian recovers and is now opening a bit of a gap to Dale Taylor. Let's keep an eye on that one. Darren had made it back to a 1.3 second lead with a very good lap, 1:36.75. Diogo Silva not the greatest lap, 1:31.172. Jorge Jesus fastest of everyone with a 1:30.550. Scott Davey half a second slower than that. Gonçalo Mota is losing a little bit of touch there with that third and fourth place battle. Lap 6 out of 14. Then is Diogo Almeida, then is Peter Adrian, then is Dale Taylor, and Steve Hobbs is still in that. Oh, and he's lost it big time there. Ooh, and he is trying to recover to be pointing in the right direction. He's done a 1:37 on the prior lap, which means he's had some sort of issue. This lap is not necessarily going to be better, unfortunately, and he's losing touch with the 8th place. Let's continue to monitor those gaps as we can continue to follow race leader Darren Head. He's had an amazing lap last time round, 1:36.75. What's going to be now at the end of lap 6? 1:39.50. Marginally slower than Diogo Silva, but not by much. Jorge Jesus continues to be ahead of Scott Davey and marginally slower than Scott this time round, but not enough for Scott to be. Ooh, look at this very heavy braking there in turn 1 for Jorge Jesus. Not enough for Scott to make a move right now in turn 1. In fact, the gap seems to have grown a little bit. Gonçalo Mota in 5th, 6th is Diogo Almeida. Now the pace of Diogo Almeida is a 1:31.843 on the last lap. That's the first lap where I think he really was in clean air. He is faster than Gonçalo Mota, who has not had a particularly good lap, 1:32.301. So let's continue to monitor this gap, as we seem to have a battle there between I believe Jorge Jesus and Scott Davey. They are now closer than ever before, and Jorge seems to be struggling a little bit with tire wear at this point. He seems to be losing more time. Yes, he is, and in fact he seems to be acting as a bottleneck, because Gonçalo Mota also visually seems to be closer to these two than he was before. We'll keep an eye on the battle at the front. 1 second is the gap, and we'll see what's the lap time now for Darren Head. It is a 1:30.6. That's good, but even better is Diogo Silva, 1:30.46. Although, well, it's a very good lap, but it's a 1/10 of a second, well, 2/10 of a second faster than Darren. So the gap now down to 1 second is still very far behind to make any sort of move. Now Jorge Jesus 1:34. So did Scott Davey, and Gonçalo Mota 1:32. But he's the faster of the three, and Diogo Almeida again, he's 6 seconds behind Gonçalo Mota, but going faster than Gonçalo. We've just passed the midpoint of this race, so definitely we think that at this pace Diogo Almeida could be joining this group at the end of the race, but consistency will be key for that to happen. We had another problem for Dale Taylor. It's a double retirement for the South African driver, who is very quick on one lap, but his races have gone unfortunately backwards, and we are disappointed to see Dale Taylor retire from this race. There's still 9th place on offer and points for every finish. 8 out of 10 you can count towards your score. And often championship positions are decided by just a few points. So, well, a bit disappointing to see Dale Taylor retired from the race, but we do understand a bit of his frustration. Steve Hobbs going quite slowly there I wonder if he's got any sort of problem or not. And he's also retired. It's a retirement for Steve as well. So now we only have 7 cars running, but look at this. We have a battle at the front as Diogo Silva has done a 1:30.839, not a very fast lap, but Darren Head is on the 1:31s. So we have, in the last stages of this race, a bit of a battle. We continue to have a battle also for 3rd place between Jorge Jesus, Scott Davley, and now Gonçalo Motas. Jorge Jesus also on the 1:32s, and now tire wear is absolutely critical. As Diogo Almeida continues to be very consistent there, 1:31.6. I think he's done 3 or 4 1:31.6s, but Gonçalo Motas starting to respond there, 1:31.6 for him as well. Only very marginally slower than Diogo, so at this pace it's going to be a bit tricky for Diogo Almeida to be joining this group. At the end of the race, the gap has increased a little bit more now. It was 0.6 of a second a few corners ago, now it's 1.1. This probably means that Darren Head has done a pretty good lap now at the end of lap 9. The clock will tell the story. It's fastest lap of the race for Darren Head, showing who's the boss. A 1:30.360. Diogo Silva 1:30.775, which is a good lap, but 0.4 of a second slower than Darren, and Darren showing that he's still got the tires and the pace to be ahead in this race. Jorge Jesus 1:31.988. These 3 drivers are more or less racing at the same speed, and Diogo Almeida now has not done a great lap. 1:32.672 is the slowest of the 3 drivers that he's battling with. We only have 7 cars. Peter Adrian is in 7th and already 10 seconds behind Diogo Almeida, so it's going to be difficult to recover from there. Still, 7th place is a good position for points, and drivers have to be opportunistic, and races where we have fewer drivers are good opportunities to stack up some points on the standings, and Peter Adrian is certainly doing that as we now finish lap 10. Darren Head seems to be in control somehow. Is less than a second ahead, but seems to be in control. Let's look at the lap time, and it is a 1:31 flat, slower than Diogo Silva, but not by much. Gap is under a second, but still he's breathing easy, I would say. 3rd is Jorge Jesus. Did he make a mistake there? Darren Head, no. Well, he did make a mistake on the exit of turn 1, gap down into half a second. Then is Jorge Jesus there in turn 1, as Scott Davley makes a small mistake there at the exit. Gonçalo Mota seems to be losing a little bit of steam at this point. Diogo Almeida in 6th place, 32.039, basically the same time, just 0.02 of a second separating his lap time from Gonçalo Motas. So I don't think that realistically Diogo can challenge for 5th place. The battle is still on here, but Diogo Silva, realistically, he has not had a chance to make any sort of move. He's just very close, but no cigar is probably the best way to describe this. Now he's a little bit closer. First time I've seen the gap there under half a second. Another lap is going to be in the books, and this one surely Diogo Silva is going to be faster than Darren. The clock will tell the story again. Darren surely is going to be slower than last time. Yes, he is, 1:31.1, and Diogo Silva a 1:35.66, which is a very good time at this point of the race. Now with tire wear beginning to Diogo Silva rotating there through turn 1, but even if he's closer, he's still not close enough to go side by side on the braking point. Trying to get there, but we have not seen a lot of overtaking here at the hairpin. We've seen Dale Taylor go around Jorge Jesus, but clearly that was because George outbraked himself there at the hairpin a few laps ago. He's still running third, and well, running very wide there in turn 2. Scott Davely is a second behind, and Gonçalo Mota a second further back. So the biggest battle is actually for the lead, even if we have not seen moves. We see Diogo Silva, is he saving himself for the last couple of laps, but he's running a little bit out of time now. He's running a little bit out of time. He's going to try to make a move, and the move is either going to be in turn 1 or the last corner. That's where we've seen some action, and sometimes the move in the last corner is a precursor to the move in turn 1. That number 23 is still in control, and seems that the gap has increased a little bit more, maybe a couple of car lengths as they go. Now it's going to be 2 laps to go at the line, and basically they do almost the same time, just 800 of a second difference. Diogo Silva continues to be under half a second, but now can he do anything in he's trying to get closer to turn 1, but not really managing to do so. In fact, quite the opposite. The gap is now a little bit up into 0.6 of a second. Let's see if we've got any action there between 3rd, 4th and 5th. And Gonçalo Mota is losing steam. He's 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds, sorry, behind Scott Davely. 5 seconds ahead of 5 seconds ahead of Diogo Almeida in 6th. Now these guys, the leaders, are going to enter the last lap anytime soon. Darren had a little bit out of shape there through that corner, but didn't really materialize into any opportunity for Diogo Silva. And 1 more lap to go. Darren Head trying to do the double here, as Simon Allen did in round 1, trying to go for 2 victories in the second round. Diogo Silva is not closer. He's not closer. He's 0.7 of a second behind, and this is going to be the last time that they're going to go through turn 1. It seems to me that Darren Head can breathe easily, because Diogo Silva is well, he's not side by side. He's not even close. In fact, he's losing time now. 0.7 of a second. The last lap, he's well, the penultimate lap, he's lost time, and now this is the last lap for Darren Head. He's in control, but just ahead of Diogo Silva last time in turn 1. What will they do as they both run wide a little bit? Turn 3 is not an overtaking point. Darren Head nicely done there through turn 2, sorry. Now the hairpin, Diogo Silva is way behind now, 0.6 of a second. Can he do anything in the last few corners? The very twisty section. Darren Head a little bit wide there at the exit of the hairpin, and Diogo Silva recovers a 1/10 of a second, but he still needs to be so much closer in the last corner. Realistically, the last corner is the only way. Now Diogo Silva is all over the place, clipping the inside curb. That's not what he wanted at this point. Now Diogo Silva is just getting a little bit desperate. He was trying almost to make a move there when clearly there was absolutely no space. Now he seems to be a little bit closer. The question is, can he go through this section? Oh, I don't think so. His line is not as good as Darren's, and I think Darren is going to survive this attack, as Diogo Silva is now going to try for one last lunge. No, he's not, and Darren Head surely is going to be the winner in this second race. He's going to win the second race here at Ruapuna. Darren Head wins, followed by Diogo Silva, followed by Jorge Jesus. Jorge Jesus, look at this, it's a late effort but there by Scott Davely. Almost contact between the two drivers, but it's going to be Jorge Jesus on the podium, followed by Scott Davely in 4th place. Nice race. 5th is going to be Gonçalo Mota. 6th is going to be Diogo Almeida, and 7th is going to be Peter Adrian completing the race. We had 9 starters, we had 7 finishers, and Peter Adrian going through the last few corners to take 7th place. We had 2 retirements, Steve Hobbs and Dale Taylor. Remember, retirements, they do not score points in the Old Fox Racing PlayStation, as Peter Adrian comes to take the checkered flag. That completes coverage of round 2. Thank you for watching. We shall see you in round 3 shortly. coverage of round 3 in this channel, hopefully in the next day or so, as we have the podium, and it's Darren Head again, the winner, followed by Diogo Silva, followed by Jorge Jesus. It's the same podium as we had in race 1, except that Diogo was second now in race 2 instead of third, and the other way around for Jorge Jesus. Nevertheless, these drivers were the strongest here at Ruapuna. We shall see you in round 3.